this is Marina from Darkstar Astrology, bringing you the November horoscopes and also the November forecast. It brings us a Mercury retrograde which starts on November the 17th, and we get what's known as a learning triangle. Best of all is that Jupiter will move into Sagittarius, where of course it's extra powerful, and it's in the sign that it rules. Now, the learning triangle will take place just before Jupiter moves into Sagittarius. So we get a wrapping up of what Jupiter in Scorpio and Uranus in Aries meant for us on November the 7th when this learning triangle occurs. Did we pass the exam? There's quite a bit of reorientation going on. What with the nodes triggered by Uranus, and now Jupiter inserting a shot of justice into the whole caboodle. The fixed T-square of October has shifted back into the cardinal signs, while the nodes, as they retrograde through the zodiac, enter now the signs of Cancer and Capricorn, North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn, where they will remain until May 2020. So this is a new shift going on too. Yeah, so a month of big shifts. The nodes change signs every year and a half, and Jupiter changes signs every year. So, it's kind of happening around the same time. Uranus also moves back into Aries for a few months, also taking it out of fixed sign Taurus until the end of the year, and the emphasis on the fixed and quite stubborn energy, which was quite strong in 2018 with Jupiter in Scorpio and the North Node in Leo. So, there's an emphasis away from that now, and we can finally take action with the nodes in Cardinal, Capricorn, Cancer, and Jupiter in powerful rulership now that it's in the mutable sign of Sagittarius. So, to me, it feels like a liberating energy, and one where people are feeling brave enough to test their own leadership skills. It's now about taking responsibility for ourselves and others in our care. We're out from the victimization rut, thank God. The shackles are loosening and the shekels have less of a hold on us as well. So, money just simply doesn't have the grip over us that it used to have with these influences, really. Now, Jupiter is the planet of religion and spirituality, and while it was in Scorpio, it was liable to be blackmailed. And we did see so many sex scandals make the news with Jupiter in Scorpio. How many politicians are beholden to people who hold the keys to some sort of dirty secret in their past? Now, the Mercury retrograde also falls in Sagittarius, where we get a power-packed stellium of Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury altogether on November the 27th. So on that date, prepare for some great news or promotion in the area that Sagittarius falls in your chart. And by that, I mean the house that Sagittarius falls in your chart. So let's have a look at this learning triangle, because as you can see, it's pretty intense, because what we have here is a learning triangle. We've got a learning triangle that is also plugging into that T-square as well. So as you can see, we've got the North Node as part of the T-square. Uranus is on one side, and it's being opposed by Venus and Ceres together in Libra. And Venus is retrograde though, but she is in Libra, so she's kind of strong, but getting a bit angry. She's a bit antsy because she's retrograde. She doesn't want to be retrograde. She wants to go forward. But she's also in her Lucifer stage phase as well. And having that opposite Uranus, she could feel like, and I mean, this is like sudden endings, and split ups and romantic issues and tugs of war between, especially on that Aries Libra axis, because it is the relationship axis anyway, because Aries is all about me, and Venus is all about you, and relationships. So having that also with the nodes, it makes breakups and makeups feel a lot more like fated as well, and that it's taking people who have been on the wrong direction and putting them on the right direction. But then Ceres is involved as well. So, hey, it's that narcissistic element that's coming into it as well. And to put Venus with Ceres together, she could be very spiteful. She can be very spiteful there. So this could be revenge of the woman scorned also. But then you see you've got this learning triangle. And so learning triangles are a Huber aspect pattern. And how they work is that the conflict is caused between the square. And the square is the North Node and Uranus. So this is conflicts between where you want to go, but then Uranus is, the house that Uranus is in is almost like setting off fireworks to push you onto the course that should give you the most soul evolution. But it's also the course that we feel a little bit like we don't want to go down there because it's not familiar to us. It's really out of our comfort zone as well. So Uranus opposite Venus, it's like relationships are the battlegrounds and they're the ones that are forcing us onto roads that we've never gone down before. Now, then the adjustment is between Uranus and Jupiter, and both those planets are to do with freedom and liberty and also truth too. So there's a certain amount of truth that is going to, again, be upsetting and push people to evolve themselves and to be more authentic. I mean, it's all about being authentic as well, isn't it? Now, the resolution is between the trine, which is the trine of Jupiter and the North Node. And that's nice because the North Node is about putting us where we should be. It's generally associated with positive things. Actually, the North Node is supposed to be associated with Jupiter anyway, and gain. And the South Node is supposed to be associated with Saturn and loss. And generally, things that are less fortunate, really. So this isn't such a bad T-square, you know, even though it's a T-square, and even though upsets between Uranus and Venus can be quite heartbreaking, really, because the learning triangle is in there as well, and because Jupiter is injecting this fortunate trine in there as well. At the end of the day, it's going to be for the best. I mean, it always is. That's the thing. I don't think there are any mistakes in the universe. There are no mistakes in nature, really. It always adjusts itself. If it has swung out of balance, then it will always adjust itself. So that's all that's going on here. So what I've done is I'm looking at the horoscopes for the month as well. And what we can see is where this aspect pattern falls on your chart. So as you can see at the moment, this is an Aries rising chart. So that's where it will fall for Aries. But as we go through the signs, you'll see that it changes. So let's look at Aries first of all. So Aries, November the 7th will bring closure in the area of what it means to be your lovely self. If you've not been fair, then Jupiter will serve his last bit of justice to you before he leaves your 8th house of self-examination and taboo topics for good. This past year has been one where you've been put on the psychiatrist's couch by others and have been forced to look deep into the eyes of your shadow. This will then bring closure in the area of your psyche, and you will get to examine deeply the stuff of your nightmares. But, you know, that's a relief, really, because who wants Jupiter amping up your shadow hammer horror style for a whole year? Now you can say goodbye to that emo face you've been wearing for far too long. There is one round of a fight to go, however, but then that's it. Meanwhile, partners are actually more forgiving of your faults than the rest of the world, and you are given one more chance for redemption. You realise how important your home is, and if you are far away from it, you might think about returning to your roots at this time. With Venus opposite Uranus across your relationship axis, there could be a breakup, as I mentioned before, but that's really only if you failed to exterminate the spooks from your shadowy 8th house. So Taurus, what does this learning triangle mean for you? Well, sadly, it does bring an end to a year of generous Jupiter in your marriage house. So did you get married? Did you even divorce? Sometimes, Jupiter does let you find freedom and allows you to let go of partners who have been more like your cellmate than your soulmate. But if all has gone well, then you should now be entering the serious stage of a relationship, like moving in together. But as Uranus retreats out of your own sign for a while, you will have time to adjust to this new electrified Taurus. So take this opportunity to get grounded and say goodbye to the old you. Well, it gives you a nice bonus at this time, which you can use to buy clothes and other enhancements that fit in with your new image. The North Node in your neighborhood zone should help you feel more connected to your local area, especially if you just moved. You might feel that you need to look at your belief system also as Uranus rebels against what you've taken on as dogma over the last 7 years. Say goodbye to meeting rebels in the form of deviant friends who acted as catalysts so that you could misbehave. Now you can do refreshing change without having to attract degenerate underworld types. So the learning triangle for Gemini. Now, November the 7th wraps up a year of workaholism. So finish writing that book and start to plan your week so that you do actually like the good Lord decrees, take that day off for rest, even if it's to worship yourself. And, why not? You have plenty to look forward to if romance has been evading you. So you must know already, if you've been reading your yearly horoscopes, that Jupiter is about to enter your marriage house on November the 8th for a whole year. So the learning triangle means that the North Node focuses on how much you value yourself and the resulting cash boost that comes from saying no to time wasters. Once you channel your energy into people that give you your due worth, you will notice the pentacles are also making their way to your wallet all by themselves. Hooray, now you can start taking holidays, you can invest in your leisure time. And because of this, you also open doors to meeting that special someone. First, though, you have to divorce some draining friends and let go of some of your more unrealistic fantasies. The long-distance cyber romance has to go, unless you now have that airfare to make it work. So, it is possible. Time to stop dreaming, though, and start doing. The North Node in your cash sector is very materialistic, which is actually a good thing if too much of your life has been in another dimension. So embrace your 3D flesh and blood lover. Yep, I know, it's weird, right? So the learning triangle for Cancer heralds that playtime is over, the teacher rings the bell, and you can look ahead to a more organised 12 months. But what do we do at the end of such a fun year? Well, I suggest have a party to celebrate and thank all your new pals for giving you so much pleasure. You might be saying goodbye to a lover too if you feel that that's just not going anywhere. Or you could do with giving your liver a rest too if you've been overdoing Jupiter's indulgence. The good news is that the unpredictability is coming to an end, and the run of social obligations can be exhausting too if you have small kids to think about as well. So Uranus says goodbye to your career zone, but look out for one more shower of surprise in that realm before it leaves for good. The battle between your career and home life gives you one last challenge, and then suddenly it's all sorted. Stability is on its way after a year and a half of wondering which road to take. Feeling a bit lost and acting like a gypsy. The North Node's entrance into your own sign means that someone gives you a big old signpost that says, this way. You look at it and smile with relief. You know finally which path to take. So Leo, November the 7th sees the end to lessons learnt around your property and roots. It might be time to say goodbye to an old abode or some house guests. There's a shift in how comfortable you feel in places that you used to call home. You could be selling a property or bringing closure to a living arrangement. Maybe your flatmate moves out as well. You might want to go travelling for a while until you decide where you really want to put down your roots. So there's a wanderlust vibe to this learning triangle for you. The conflict lies between your personal belief system and the dogma of more established religions. There could be one last blowout with a sibling or spiritual brother or sister. That makes you question what you thought of as a supportive soul group is actually starting to show all the trappings of a cult. Jupiter in your home zone allows you to get an objective view from your real family who know the real you. So for Virgo, November the 7th brings a grand finale to your studies, and this could be in actual exams or just researching in your local area. It's time to wrap up this line of research that you've been on for the last year. When you find out that you've really exhausted that line of inquiry and there's just no juice left in it, maybe you've simply gotten bored. Something turns up that shows you that you've actually spent far too much resources in that area too. A bill comes in which just seems like extortion. So querying that expense may lead to an argument where it suddenly clicks that you actually do not value the subject any longer. Conflicts show you what you really truly value and what you don't. So you are preparing to put down roots now after much testing and experimentation and moving towards making new friends who will play a big part in your future destiny. So make sure that you join some common interest groups. This way you'll have more chance of making those fateful meetings. Say goodbye to feeling stuck in a rut as these new friends open the doors to more travel in the coming years too. So for Libra, November the 7th brings fireworks literally direct to your house of marriage so that you feel that the only way out is to throw yourself wholeheartedly into your career. You get a nice cash injection too, which may make you feel braver in making that leap away from a toxic relationship. Just be careful you don't break up just because the grass looks greener elsewhere, however. You have had Uranus in your relationship zone for 7 years, so that famous itch is coming to its climax right now. You may find that you get the whole forbidden fruit urge out of your system, and then you can go back to being your normal, faithful self. But really, it would be best not to do anything rash, as this really looks like just a final fling before tying the knot of commitments. Adjustments are made now between how much freedom you give to your partner or vice versa, because sometimes too much freedom can actually be read as not caring very much. Looks like a bit of jealousy might actually help heal a relationship that was getting complacent and becoming too much like a flaccid sofa. On the other hand, Uranus might have put a stop to any lasting romance in the last 7 years, and you might be the one that looks like a saggy old couch. That's all about to change. Leap out of the potato zone and get yourself fit for some long-term loving. The learning triangle for Scorpio. Well, September the 7th brings the realization that you will have to say your sad farewells to Jupiter in your sign. Don't worry, because you can also say good riddance to the bloatation that has amassed around your belly area. So there are some positives. What may occur is that one mother of an indulgence happens before he leaves. It's not all about hedonism though. You might invest in yourself financially, especially if you're self-employed. One last big expense will bear fruit in the year ahead, so go for it. You really will have the ability to speculate and accumulate with this learning triangle. The lesson will be one of trusting your intuition, and there may be one hidden enemy that comes out of the woodwork out of jealousy. But this is useful as you had no idea how venomous this person was behind the scenes. You can look forward to fateful meetings with foreigners in the coming year, which should bring some international growth to your business. Otherwise, you can meet important people to your life's path in churches, temples, or places of higher learning. So for Sagittarius, the learning triangle gives you the opportunity to say goodbye to stale old belief systems. While friends bicker about what you should be doing with your leisure time, you are challenged to learn the lesson of know thyself and stop being pressured by those peers. You're about to take a voyage into the deep basement of your cerebellum, so you need to clear out all those old black bin bags of past friends' expectations and create space so you can concentrate on you. What do you want to exercise out of your life? What shadows can you face handling right now? Not the ones that you feel others say you should be facing. Beware of others' projections of taboos they actually need to deal with themselves. It's really nothing to do with you. A hidden enemy might crawl out of those smelly bin bags, but you learn in a roundabout way that what they are warning you against is actually something that you really need to go towards. This person might also have an eye on something of value to your partner, also if you have one. Ex-spouses can be a problem, especially if still involved with any stepchildren, and you have the opportunity to bring closure to your partner's old baggage too. Another possibility is that you could come into some inheritance or be granted a loan. The cash boost allows you to do research into work that is not an immediate money spinner, but could be so in the future. So Capricorn, for you, the learning triangle means that relationships are starting to feel fated, and the uprooted feeling in your home is not helping you to feel secure in your long-term relationships. You feel like fleeing and really burning your bridges when a work colleague touches a nerve, how you are not coping with upsets in your domestic environment. Once and for all, you need to deal with the home annoyance or give up the job if it's just too stressful to do both. One of them needs to go, but you just don't know which one yet. A helpful and objective friend intercedes for you, and this also has the effect of mending your primary love relationship if that's been under the strain as well. The T-square pattern that the learning triangle plugs into falls into your foundational houses of your horoscopes, so you'll be feeling this one more strongly than most of the other signs. However, you also stand to gain the most in your love life too, as the North Node's destined feel brings some supernatural encounters into your life, and it all feels quite magical and a nice antidote to the tension at home. If you still live with your parents, you might actually leave at this time, but try not to part ways under a blazing row. So for Aquarius, you can finally say goodbye to feeling alienated from your community with this learning triangle. You're coming to the end of a cycle where Uranus made it hard for you to feel connected, and you felt more like an outsider in your local area and also with your siblings too. This is all about to shift, and new vibrations are developing in your home zone, and you could be preparing for a massive change of scene when Uranus enters Taurus for good. Until then, more and more temptations beckon from exotic shores, and you may decide at the last minute to jump on a jet and get some winter sun while you can. Any destined loves that turned open enemy over the last year and a half have left a bitter taste in your mouth, and at this learning triangle, you vow not to make that mistake again with any long-distance love possibilities. Still, sky beckons, and you are ripe for some light-hearted adventure. Jupiter blesses you with a goodbye gift of career success before he leaves Scorpio for good, and the trine to the North Node, now in your workhouse, could bring an important new business connection into your life. So lastly, Pisces. Now the learning triangle for you brings tension to a head between what you can afford and where your children or lover want you to be. These delightful beloveds grab your hand and point towards expensive holidays, toys, gym memberships, shopping trips, and such like. You get a taste of how sporadic your cash flow has been for the last 7 years, but Uranus is so unpredictable, you might easily get a sudden injection of money too. You could feel pressurized to take a loan, or you might get an unexpected inheritance. However way it works, there is a chance that money comes from your partner in one way or another. So if they want to go deluxe with your free time, then it should be them that pays the 5-star bill. Holidays have been the source of luck and pleasure for the last year, so take advantage of the last gasp of fortune spillage there. For the next year and a half, you will feel the pull towards spending more time with your lover and children. And fun can have fateful consequences, so make sure you put yourself in the appropriate environment to receive those blessings. That will not be the best time to go full-on workaholic, so go down a couple of gears in that department. So those are the horoscopes. So that brings me to the end. Now, I will do a Mercury retrograde dedicated video because that needs one all to itself. And until then, take care, enjoy the learning of the triangle. So take care, and I'll see you next time. All the best. Bye-bye.